Winning an Olympic Games is the pinnacle of a journey of sacrifices, dedication, and resilience for an athlete. It's the moment they've tirelessly trained for over years and even decades. For these athletes, winning an Olympic medal is reaching the top of their sport. Many aspire to secure a spot to compete in the most famous and important sporting event on the planet. However, only a select group of athletes have the opportunity to compete in the Olympics, as slots are limited, and each sport has its own rules for selection. We believe that athletes, due to the dedication they have for their sport and the discipline required to reach the top of the rankings, serve as examples to be followed. But we tend to forget that, just like us, they are also human and subject to making mistakes. Félix Verdejo, known in the sports world as El Diamante, a young boxer from Puerto Rico who was considered one of the greatest boxing prospects of recent times, is an example of this. He had the honor of representing his country in the 2012 Olympic Games, but today, he is imprisoned for an unforgivable mistake that no one should commit, taking another person's life. Today, we will discuss the case of Félix Verdejo and Keishla Rodríguez. To understand this case, especially the part involving the investigations in Félix's trial, we need to understand the relationship between Puerto Rico, an island in the Caribbean, and the United States. On July 25, 1898, during the Spanish-American War, the United States invaded Puerto Rico. As a result of the war, Puerto Rico, which was under Spanish sovereignty, was ceded to the United States after the signing of the Treaty of Paris, becoming governed by American military authorities. In 1917, the U.S. Congress passed the Jones Act, granting Puerto Ricans American citizenship. With this, Puerto Rico became a quasi-state of the United States. Despite Puerto Ricans not electing U.S. congressmen, they are subject to federal laws, including those related to crimes such as extortion, kidnapping, and murder. This is a very condensed version of the history between the two countries, but it explains why the FBI is investigating this case. As mentioned earlier, Félix participated in the 2012 Olympics, which took place in London. Despite being a professional in his sport, boxing, he competed in the lightweight category and finished in 4th place. Even without winning a medal, his performance in the competition helped him stand out in the world of boxing. When he returned from London, at the age of only 19 at the time, he signed a multi-million-dollar contract with an agency that sponsored professional boxing matches, Top Rank. El Diamante continued to shine in the world of boxing, and in 2015, he won his first world title. A title he held until 2020, when he lost the title fight to the Japanese boxer Masayoshi Nakatani in a bout considered epic by sports analysts. In boxing, losing a title is not the end of a professional career. However, what Félix would do the following year would end his sports career forever. On April 29, 2021, a 27-year-old woman named Keishla Rodríguez Ortiz was reported missing in the city of San Juan, the capital of Puerto Rico. Keishla dreamed of becoming a veterinarian, and her disappearance was noticed when she didn't show up for work at a veterinary clinic. Keishla was found lifeless days later, on May 1st, under a bridge that crosses a city lagoon called San Jose. The young woman's body was initially identified through dental records, conducted by the Institute of Forensic Sciences of Puerto Rico, and later confirmed by her family. Keishla was pregnant when she lost her life, which caused significant shock and outrage among the population of Puerto Rico. As indicated in the missing person report, Keishla had her last conversation with her mother, Keishlaortiz, around 7 a.m. on Thursday, April 29th. During this final conversation, the young woman informed that Félix Verdejo, the father of her child, would accompany her to a medical clinic to check the results of her pregnancy test. What could have been wonderful news for any young couple turned into a problem for Félix, as Keishla was his lover, while he was married to another woman. Félix and Keishla had known each other since their teenage years and had kept in touch, entering into this clandestine relationship after some time. Félix claimed that the scandal of having a lover bearing his child would harm his career in the sport. When Félix was approached by the FBI, he refused to cooperate, and as a result, the boxer was provisionally arrested on May 2nd, charged with murder, carjacking resulting in death, and intentional killing of a fetus. The following day, the court denied him the right to post bail. The investigation into Keishla's murder progressed rapidly, primarily due to the cooperation of a witness who, in a confession to the FBI, claimed to have helped Félix kill the mother of his child. The FBI considered this witness as having privileged knowledge of the events. This witness is a man known as Tony, whose real name is Luis Antonio Cadiz Martinez, an acquaintance of Félix and a former convict. The relationship between the athlete and the key witness was not well clarified in the criminal proceedings, but it is known that Luis acquired the chemical substances that would be found in Keishla's autopsy. According to Luis's testimony, Félix Verdejo contacted him and asked for his help to resolve this pregnancy matter, in his words. They met with Keishla in the boxer's car, a black Dodge Durango, where, at a certain point, Félix assaulted the young woman multiple times and then injected a mixture of heroin and fentanyl into her. Subsequently, the two men tied Keishla's hands and feet with cables and wires and secured her in a cement block. They then placed the body in the vehicle she had driven to meet her lover. The two men drove the vehicles toward the Teodoro Moscoso Bridge in San Juan, where they threw Keishla's body into Lagoon, San Jose. They later abandoned her car near the scene, which was found the next day. The FBI also discovered phone communication records between Félix and Keishla on the day of the abduction. The police also had security camera footage showing a vehicle similar to the boxer's parked on the bridge's emergency lane, corroborating Luis's testimony. According to this witness, Félix allegedly shot Keishla after tossing her from the bridge, missing his target. A bullet cartridge was recovered near the bridge's guardrail, confirming this fact. According to the autopsy of the young woman's body, she was still alive when she was thrown from the bridge and died from drowning. The autopsy also revealed that Keishla had a broken jaw and nose due to a strong impact, likely caused by Félix's punch while she was in the car. As Puerto Rico follows some American laws, both Félix and Luis could face the maximum penalty for these crimes, which is execution by electric chair if convicted. In November 2022, Luis reached an agreement with the Public Ministry of Puerto Rico, and in exchange for his testimony against Félix, he may receive a sentence ranging from 30 years to life in his trial, instead of the death penalty. His trial has not yet taken place and has no scheduled date. As for Félix's verdict, it was delivered on July 28, 2023, after 25 weeks of a lengthy trial in which more than 30 witnesses were heard. The jury, consisting of 12 individuals, found Felix guilty of the charge of kidnapping that led to Keishla's death and the charge of causing the death of a fetus. However, these same jurors were not unanimous in deciding on the other two charges: illegal possession of a weapon and carjacking resulting in death. The sentence that Felix will have to face was promulgated in a new session on November 3, 2023. He was sentenced to 2 life imprisonment terms. Felix's wife, despite knowing about her husband's case, was not considered a participant in this crime. Keishla's parents expressed their satisfaction with the trial's outcome and hope that the former athlete will be haunted by his crimes for the rest of his life. Keishla's mother gave the following statement to the newspapers of Puerto Rico. "I always said that he will live the rest of his life thinking about what he did to my daughter, and that is his worst punishment. I do not wish death upon him. I wish him good health and that it lasts as long as possible. If he wants to live for 200 years, let him live, but always remember what he did to my daughter." Leave your opinion on this case in the comments, subscribe to the channel to discover more stories like this, and don't forget to leave a like. See you in the next video.